Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and today I want to show you how to use the Stamparatus to make Christmas cards. And the stamp set I'm going to be using today is Caroling Mice, and then for the sentiment I'll be using Framed and Festive. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite holiday themed, Christmas themed sentiment stamps. It's really great. Okay, but I wanted to show you the Stamparatus because it makes creating cards, multiples of the same card, really easy. It also helps to get a nice, really dark image outline when you're stamping. So let me just go ahead and flip my camera around and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to show you is this mat that comes with your Stamparatus. It's a foam mat. It's perfect for putting under photopolymer stamps. I'm not using photopolymer stamps today though, so I'm just going to set it to the side. I don't use it with my cling stamps. So you get two plates. I'm going to put one to the side for now. The other one, I'm just going to leave it opened up. I have a piece of grid paper here that fits just right on my Stamparatus, and then my magnets. It comes with two magnets, but you can buy replacements. They're very, very strong, and they'll snap together real easy if you're not careful, and so sometimes you can end up with a broken magnet, which is why I have washi tape on all of mine. Washi tape or craft tape. I've got a little bit of both going on here, but it just makes it easier to pick them up. And like this one, I snapped it and it cracked it a little bit, so that just reinforces it too. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to stamp is the Caroling Mice, and I'm going to put my cardstock this way. So if I were going to be stamping several of these cards, what I would do is line my cardstock up where I want it. Of course, use the magnets to hold it down. And then I would take a pen or a pencil, we'll just use this one, and mark where I want the corner to be. So always use the same size of, like if I was doing multiples, I would just put the same size of cardstock right here. I would know this is where I want the bottom right corner to be, and I could put it in the same place every time. So now I'm going to put my mice down here. Just make sure they're not standing all cattywampus. Kind of center that up there. And then I'm going to use this plate to pick that up. Did y'all hear Amazon? They just delivered something for my dog. They were backing up. Okay, so I'm just inking that real good with some Memento ink. I pull gently out on this plate as I'm putting it down. And with this, it gives it nice even pressure, so you don't have to worry too much about getting any kind of weird halos or anything. And I don't know if you can tell, but this is not as dark as I want this outline to be. So I'm just going to re-ink it. Just tapping it all over. Again, I'm pulling gently out. You can see there's a little bit of wiggle room there, so I'm just going to pull gently out, and that way I know it's going in the exact same spot. Okay, much darker. Let's see if it'll focus. There we go. So that looks really good, but you can see around their ears there's just a little bit that's still not completely solid. I probably need to refill my Memento ink now that I'm thinking about it. I love that I can just refill all my ink pads without having to buy new ones. Okay. See how solid that is now? So much better. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and do one more, but I think it's good there. So for now, I'm going to move this plate to the side, and I'm going to bring this one on. So I am using the same ink color, so technically I could put these on the same plate, but I wanted to have one magnet up here, so I couldn't have this stamp set in that spot, or the stamp in that spot, while I had that magnet there. So now I can. So I'm just going to scoot this up. I want it pretty close to the top. Hopefully that's straight. I'm at a little bit of an odd angle, but I think we're good. You can always test this on your grid paper too if you would like. So I'm just inking that guy up. Stamping. I'm going to do it one more time, just because the center of that is not quite as dark as I want. I like nice, crisp, clean images whenever I stamp. Okay, that looks good. All right, and now it's ready to stamp, or to color. But if I wanted to, and I would totally do this, if I were going to be making a bunch of these and I was going to be going somewhere where I could, if I was going to be going somewhere where I had some time to color, for instance, when my kids were younger and they would have drama classes or piano classes, this would be the perfect thing to stamp a stack of these, throw my blends and these in a bag, and then whenever I got there and I was sitting and waiting on them to get out of class, then I could sit and color these. Perfect. And then get home and put them all together. Okay, so I'm hoping that you're seeing how easy it would be to put another cardstock piece here, put that other plate back on, and you can even have, I mean, you can't do it this way with this stamp the way it was, but so you could be doing this stamp this way, and then put this other stamp where it's like right here instead of right here, and then you could just stamp one and then stamp the other one, and you're good to go. When you're storing these, you can always lay one over, but take the other one out and lay it on top. They both don't fold down at the same time. Okay, so let's color these little guys. This one, I am using my Smoky Slate blend, and I bought this blend way back when, I don't even know how many years ago, it was several years ago, when Stampin' Blends came out. For a little while, you could only buy them, well, they were offered individually. So I ended up just getting the light Smoky Slate, and I have not bought the combo pack yet. I really need to do that. I like having both the light and the dark. But today I'm going to make do with this one. I also only have the light basic black, so I'll use it in a second too. Okay, since I don't want my mice to all be exactly the same shade of Smoky Slate, I'm going to go over this guy again and make him a little bit darker. Then for the ears, I have the light petal pink. Okay, then for the first little mouse, I'm going to make his hat and his jacket the dark sweet sorbet. And then I'm going to use the light Orchid Oasis for the little fluffy ball at the end of his cap. and his scarf. Okay, for the next mouse, I'm using the dark Orchid Oasis for his hat and his jacket. And then for a scarf, I'm going to use the dark Parakeet Party. Okay, so for the last mouse, I'm using light Parakeet Party on his hat and his scarf. Just kidding, not his scarf, his jacket. I almost messed that up. And then the light Sweet Sorbet on his scarf. Okay, so I used to, and I still do sometimes, put ribbon on using glue dots. I like to use the glue dots to hold it in place. But now, I've recently started using tear-in tape. So I think I want to put this about 3/4 of an inch down. So I'm going to go 3 little squares and kind of put that about in the middle of it. And I'm going to use this other side over here too. If you're like me and are not great at getting things even just by eyeballing them, then having this grid paper is so handy. It's handy for so many things, but especially for getting things to line up a little bit more evenly than I can on my own. My husband is really great at looking at something and knowing immediately if it's even or not, but not me. Okay, so I'm going to take this ribbon now and thread it. I'm just tucking it under. I'm going from the top underneath, and then I'm going to tie a bow before I cut it off my spool of ribbon. I don't like wasting ribbon, and I feel like that keeps me from getting too much. There we go. That looks good. Might go ahead and trim off just a little bit more of this end. Okay, so now I have an Orchid Oasis card base, and I have a piece of the 2022 to 2024 in color designer series paper. Let's clear this off a little bit. I get kind of wild when I'm stamping. I make a mess real quick. But you don't want to see my mess. So I'm just tucking it off camera and pretending it like it's not there. Alright, so just centering this on the card base. I'll put all of the measurements for this card over on my blog, so you can swing over there if you would like to have those. So then this is a piece of the 2022 to 2024 in color glimmer paper. So the DSP, the in color DSP and the glimmer paper, they come in 6x6 sheets. Very handy sizes. So I'm just going to put that, I don't know, would that be about 2/3 of the way down? 3/4 of the way down? I want it lower than in the middle. I'm going to use my grid paper again to make sure those are pretty straight. Okay, so then I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of my main piece. Just center this one up vertically and horizontally the best you can. I think I got a little too far to the right, but it's okay. And then I'm going to take a piece of 4" by 5 1/4" basic white, and the scrap just happens to be 3/4 inch. Usually I do 1/4 or 1/2 inch of scrap, but this one can be a little bit wider. That's okay. And I'm just going to put that right here at the top. Looks like I've cut one of these a little short, so I'm just centering that up. There's just a little bit of extra on either side. Then I'm using my liquid glue again to put this inside the card. It would also be cute to have the little Christmas tree or the lamp inside the card, but that's fast and easy doing it this way. It's fast and easy stamping too. Who am I kidding? Alright, thank you so much for watching today. If you need those measurements, like I said, you can find those over on my blog, and I'll have that linked in the description below. I also have the list of supplies I used today, so if you saw something that you really need to add to your Stampin' stash, then you can click on those links and head right over to my online store and purchase those if you're in the US and don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great weekend. Happy stamping!